say we not gonna make it, not the next 10 years. I go see how we winning. This a love we have another 2 minutes. It is forever. Anything you want is forever. Batman won't let us. I do you hope, you know me, only get better. Me talk to God in a prayer. Show me a sign like a giant. Me and you can't let much back for WEFM is SPG.
Voice of the Man, Bongo Prime, representing for Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9. Ha.
It's another day of Activated Mornings. Good morning to you wherever you're listening to us. If you're sitting, if you are standing, if you're lying in bed, maybe lying on a couch, maybe you're even lying on the floor. If you're exercising, you're driving, you're just sitting back, relaxing, enjoy being driven. Whatever you're doing, good morning to you. We hope you're in good spirits, and it will stay that way until the end of the day. And if you're not in good spirits, then we are hoping to get you there. This is Activated Mornings with Roleza and Dianna, and I am Dianna.
And good morning to everyone. Yes, we are back with you for another day. The countdown is on. I ain't sure what everybody else counting down to, but we're counting down to Christmas, right? All right. So yes, we are here with you for another day. And yeah, let's get to it.
Well, as we do some countdowns, before we get to that, let me just give you a little heads up as to what our lineup today looks like. As usually, have our commentary right now, which you can also be a part of by calling 457-9997. We also have our commentary at 7:45 with Life Compton. Then we have our Talk to Us a little bit earlier today at 8:10, right? So if you have something you need to bring up, 8:10 is the time to do so. And after that, we have some sponsored segments. And as we mentioned the countdown before, you may be counting down to Christmas. You may be counting down to election day. But if it's today and you're counting down to something today, you might be counting down to rally later, right? Later will be greater, as they say. The political parties are doing their thing. Tonight, Shensia and Aishan will be in Camden Park with the NDP, and Popcorn will be at Annisvale with the ULP. Which one you going? You're going to the two? It is such a pity that the one I like more is the one that is farther away from me. That's all right though. Roleza, which one of them you like out of the three? Who's your favorite? If you're into any of them.
Well, I'm a little bit sad in a sense that both events have happened on the same night.
I know, right?
I think for persons, and I noticed somebody made a comment, it seems like it's not Jamaica and the Grenadines, given the amount or given the number of Jamaican artists who the parties have been bringing, right? I don't think that any of us are against the Jamaican artists. Of course, we're not. We're very much, a country that loves dancehall. But yes, both events are being held tonight, and it's interestingly one Jamaican against another Jamaican performing. If I were to go, and I said if I were to go, as my Maxman, good morning to you. I see you there on the live. I am more of a Shen Yang fan, right? More of a Shensia fan. Not that I'm not a Popcorn fan as well, but more of a Shen Yang fan. But I will not be at any of these events, right? As I've stated before, I've been looking at everything virtually for more than one reason. So I've been looking at everything virtually, but I suppose the general discussion for us would be, not so much just about going to the events, but are these events effective? Have the mix of entertainment, because as yesterday we mentioned, and even last week we talked about the fact that so much money is being spent on these events, so much money is being spent on these rallies. And the purpose is to be able to draw the young people out. Well, not even just young people, because I'm young-ish, so much anymore. But to be able to draw persons out to these events. So is it that having two acclaimed artists at both political events tonight, is it going to be effective in terms of bringing people out, and not just bringing people out, but the parties getting their messaging over? So, yeah.
Interestingly, I saw a video from somebody who's saying at this point, parties, we're not interested in what y'all have to say. Just play tune, just play music, just run tune. We just coming out for the vibes, for the entertainment. I wondered, when you hear some of the older party supporters talk about the experience with the artists, or even their reaction when they hear who is coming. The fact that a lot of them aren't really acquainted with these people, they don't know who they are. I wonder, are they feeling left out somehow? Are they cool with it? Are they saying, go ahead, man, I'll do your thing to get the young people, it's good over here? Or are they, sort of feeling like, perhaps one for us would have been great?
The older folks who are into gospel, there was an event for them. I think both parties did have something for them, right?
Well, yeah.
But I suppose the crowd who might want to hear a Beres or a Buju, you're not getting that this year, right? You either keep up with the young people or stay home. Or like Doc said yesterday, go and look at YouTube videos so that you could get acquainted, and then go to these events. But they are actually trying to draw out and pull in the young people. And as we saw yesterday, and we read in an article, and searchlight number is actually higher than the article that I read yesterday. There are a lot more registered voters, and a lot more registered voters. I am believing that it's more young people who are registered to vote. So they have to get their messaging over. They have to get their message to the young people. And would I necessarily say that I have an issue with it? No. I mean, the money that is being spent is right? But I cannot fault the parties for what it is that they're doing. And as I said yesterday, when I made my commentary with regards to the NDP rally that I looked at on Saturday night, when Vinette Frederick, as the hype woman, was there delivering the message to the persons, to those in the audience, in terms of how it is they need to vote, in terms of placing the X, in terms of practicing to mark your X if your hand's shaky, in terms of the time that the polling stations open, the time that you need to be in the line by. These are the things, and these are the things that are going to make a difference come the day of elections, in terms of that messaging that you got over, in terms of who you're supposed to vote for in your constituency. That direct messaging that it seems as if the young people have been listening, because as I said yesterday as well, there was a point when she said something and she asked the audience to repeat it, and they repeated. So it shows that they were actually listening. So the parties have to do what they can to be able to get persons out to these events, to hear their messages. Now, of course, it's going to be more than just a message in terms of how to mark your X, or where you're placing your X, or who you're voting for. It really should be based on policy and who it is that you think can take our country forward. But they have to find a way to get to the young people. And the style of rallies of yesteryear that may have worked in terms of going to Market Square and having that type of meeting, that worked for our grandparents. It's not going to work for the younger generation. So
one of the things that I noticed in having conversations with persons, not necessarily by choice, but in having conversations with persons as we get closer to the date, one of the things they're mentioning is it seems like a lot of information needs to go to the younger persons or even the new voters about the voting process, things that they're supposed to do, things that they're not supposed to do. Something as simple as the pen and pencil issue. Somebody might walk with their own pen because you just assume it's okay to do that. Then you go in there and you mark an X with it. No, that's not correct. That's not something that you ought to do. Even in marking your line, some persons still believe that if it touches the line, it wouldn't be counted, even though the supervisor said that once the intention is clear, that would not be the case. But there are still some persons who have not heard that message as yet, so they're still believing that it could, I mean, better yet if you believe in, so you're marketing right.
You market it between the lines than anything else, but yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like now that we're getting closer to the day, maybe they should put more emphasis into informing their supporters about the voting process now. I think everybody has heard everything that they need to hear. I don't think.
You mean in terms of policies?
I don't think anybody is waiting to hear what bombshell message you have to drop again at this point. Or if it's a bombshell, it has to really be a bombshell message. So I think they could probably put more emphasis in letting persons know now what you're supposed to wear, what you're not supposed to wear, spread around the messages from the electoral office and so on. Yeah, especially to the younger ones, because I kind of took it for granted that people would know what to do to cast a ballot. Something as simple. I was in a conversation recently and they were mentioning, speaking to some persons about even when you're finished with the vote, the ballot, what you're supposed to do after when you fold it up, and what the presiding officer is supposed to do, make sure that you follow the correct steps and all of those things. So perhaps now they could lean into that.
Yeah, but even when you go to the polling stations, they tell you.
Yeah,
they tell you exactly what it is that you're supposed to do, So
but it's better to know as well, just in case. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think one of the greater takeaways is we have all had our fun, especially those who are outside. I mean, as I said, I've been looking at it virtually, but I've been having my fun. We have had our fun in terms of the rallies that are happening and the artists who came to perform, right? Of course, some have been questionable on both sides, but it has come down to today. And again, we know that crowds don't mean one thing, because as Vincentians, we are going to be outside, especially if it's for freeness, right?
Yep.
Crowd size doesn't mean anything when it comes to politics, because most persons are going to be walking, who are going out tonight, they're walking with both their red and their yellow shirts, all right? And they're going to be jumping from events. But I noticed that both parties, the NDP starts at 6:30 while the ULP is at 6. But we generally know the time artists are going to come on to perform. But I think I was curious how people making it though, because I'm like, tomorrow's a holiday.
Well, as they said, this is like Carnival 2.0 and probably even hotter than Carnival. So they get the Carnival spirit and the energy.
I am legit, because even to look at something virtually, I was like, I need to go in my bed. I looked at the rest of the NDPs. I looked at the rest of the ULP's rally yesterday. When I went home, but they're like, how people finding the energy to do all of this, But I suppose come Wednesday morning, some employers are going to expect their employees to be tired coming in. I think some persons may already be in slow mode, working slowly for whatever reasons, other than going to the events. But but it's about getting that messaging over, and it has to be more than just about the nice time. We enjoy the nice time, but it has to be more than just that. All right. But parties have to do what they have to do to get persons to hear their message and direct messaging. So
yeah. And one of the things you were saying a while ago about the crowds and not focusing on the crowds, another thing too is most of the people at the crowds are the young people, and a lot of the older voters, they're home. So it's now 7:33, and we are going to head out of this talk segment at 7:35. We will be back with traffic talk at 7:45, our next talk segment.